Let's go now, Jerome. So the Minnesota Fighting Vikings have the numero uno defense in the National Football League, and it's really fun to watch them flying around, making plays, getting pressure, and really setting the Vikings as a whole up for success. Right, and the defense, frankly, has won the last couple games for the Vikes, and the main man to thank for that is Brian Flores. Now, Flores, many years in the Patriots organization, a former Dolphins head coach, and he and Kevin O'Connell go way back like chiropractor. They're a great team, a de facto head coach of the defense, and he's really got that side of the ball playing extremely well. And like we said, former head coach of the Dolphins, and it's tough, getting these head coaching gigs, and it didn't work out the way that everyone wanted things to work out. It's kind of rough. Has a lawsuit hanging over his head, as well as the whole $100K to lose games on purpose. Can't have that. No, yeah. Ask Brian Flores to lose on purpose, please. And of course, the whole thing about Tua basically just throwing Brian Flores under the bus, right? And Flo obviously deserves to have another shot at being a head coach if and when he wants it. And there's a lot of things that go into the growth process, right? And he's not the same coach that he was when he took over the Dolphins the handful of years ago. He's grown and shown just like everyone else. And like we said, selfishly, I would love if Flores stays here for the next couple of years and watches over the best defense in the National Football League, sustain success over the next couple of years. But obviously for him, he wants to be a head coach again. He deserves to be a head coach again. And also the fact that he flipped around the worst or second worst defense in 2022 under Donishell and took them middle of the table last year in a lot of statistical categories with a lot of the same personnel. And the fact that he got zero goose egg D'Angelo Russell head coaching interviews is just appalling. It's just appalling. Now, like we said, there's a lot of factors there, like the lawsuit, like the whole 100K, and now with the whole Tua thing that he's going to have to answer for, because the connection between a head coach and a quarterback is paramount, even a defensive-minded head coach, right? So there's still things for him to work through, and also I don't think that he's going to take a job just to take a job, so we'll see what happens. Long story longer. Jason Reed over at ESPN did a phenomenal long-form piece talking about the resurgence of Brian Flores. Just want to grab a couple pull quotes here that really stood out. Go check the whole article out. Link is in the description. As the Vikings prepare for a road game Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, Flores is focused on helping the team make a strong closing kick to the finish. But make no mistake, he aspires to guide a team again. And if given another opportunity, Flores is convinced that he would be a better leader. Quote, "I'm so much better now," Flores said Wednesday during a lengthy interview with Anscape and the Vikings practice facility. "I just believe that if I get another opportunity, somebody's going to get a high-level coach." And like we said, he's definitely grown since his time with the Dolphins, and how can you not? Because all of the consternation within the organization, his relationship with Tua, and then going to Tomlin for a year and then coming to the Vikings. I mean, there's a lot of room for growth there. And if you hear Flores talk in the media, especially after Tua threw him under the bus, and Flores was definitely raw and emotional with the media, and he was very frank and matter of fact, but you could tell there's been a lot of growth and a lot of maturity there. And also he was legitimately hurt by Tua's comments, right? And Tua obviously sees things one way, Flores sees it the other, but Flores took ownership of the situation and went from there, right? So I think that does speak to the growth and maturity and evolution as a leader of men. Then there was Flores' personal interactions with Tomlin, who's considered among the best in the business at building bridges. Quote, "My one-on-one time with him," Tomlin, "was very beneficial," Flores said. "Coach T, just having that ability to pick his brain, whether it's about personnel or situations or strategy, that was great. It definitely helped me get better." Or just watching him, how he goes about building relationships really throughout the building was just so different than anything I have been around, and the way he does it all, it was really more my speed, honestly. So Flores obviously came up through the Patriots organization for years. Now, Belichick is a lot of things. Building personal relationships, not really his forte, and maybe that's what trickled down to Miami. Maybe Flores, like a lot of Belichick assistants, try to be another Belichick, except no one could be Belichick. So just be yourself. And maybe Flores learned that. And, that year that he spent with the Steelers after getting fired by the Dolphins, like he said, like he, learned from Mike Tomlin, interacted with Tomlin. Tomlin's, been the best in the business for decades at this point. And he has a different way of going about things. Right. And that's another great sign of learning and maturity from Flores. Also, here with Kevin O'Connell, like even though O'Connell, obviously is the head coach and Flores is the DC, in a lot of ways they are peers, and a lot of ways they do learn from each other. And O'Connell's definitely not been shy about talking about that either, which speaks to O'Connell's maturity too. With O'Connell's help, Flores is now seeing because how many times have you seen on teams that have had success on both sides of the ball, there's so much ego involved. Whether it's OC and DC or head coach and DC or OC and head coach on the defense, it doesn't matter. Like it always seems to be like some sort of friction when there is success. But by all accounts, from everything that we've all seen, like Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores get along great. There's very little ego in that relationship. With O'Connell's help, Flores is now seeing the game through the quarterback's eyes more than ever. For team owners, the development of quarterbacks is paramount, and anyone who hopes to occupy a coach's office knows the deal. Quote, obviously, I understood the importance of the head coach quarterback dynamic before I joined the Vikings, but it goes back to what I was saying about seeing a new way of doing things, Flores said. Kevin is really good with how he works with quarterbacks, the thing he prioritizes, and the way he builds relationships. Just watching that closely, it has helped me. Considering the blistering criticism Flores faced from quarterbacks once under him in Miami, this seems important. Yes. And yeah, going back the whole Tua thing, like, is Flores blameless in this situation? No. Is it a little bit more exacerbated because of Tua, how he took things? Possibly. But also it goes back to Belichick and Brady. Like Belichick and Brady did not have a warm and fuzzy personal relationship. It was all professional, right? And maybe Flores took his cues from that. But watching the way that Tomlin has operated, watching the way that Kevin O'Connell obviously has operated with his quarterbacks now, a little bit easier for KOC because he does come from a offensive background that was a quarterback himself, but that doesn't mean that there isn't things that Flores could and should learn. And Flores, it is a tough jump in being a defensive-minded head coach and working with a quarterback, but I think that he has been able to add things to his repertoire and has a better understanding of things as well. Also, this is a great quote from Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell, quote, one of my favorite parts of the job is just spending that time with him, Flores, and the dialogue we have. He has made me a better coach, and he's been a great version of himself and what I expected. He's been fantastic for us. I just love the culture this team is built. And Kevin O'Connell's a major part of that, man. Lastly, all Flores needs is another opportunity to show how far he's come. Quote, I'm where my feet are, which is a quote that Flores has talked a bunch. It's a pretty common quote, but it's something that I love too, and something that I've tried to incorporate in my life. I'm the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, and I want to serve this team any way I can, Flores said. Do I feel I could still sit in the coach's chair again? Absolutely, but I'm happy here. I get to coach a great group who enjoy playing, and the defense loves Flores, man. They do. I say to players all the time, the game tape is your walking, talking, breathing resume. It's all right there for everyone to see. And if your tape's good, and that goes for players and coaches as well, then there's really not much more you can do, end quote. And yeah, that's exactly the right mindset, because Flores could fret all day, oh, I'm not getting a job or interviews because of Tua or the lawsuit or the 100 dimes or whatever in that regard. But no, it's like, hey, as long as I keep coaching good and building relationships with my players, and our side of the ball is out there dominating, and I'm learning from Kevin O'Connell, and he's learning from me, and we have a great relationship and we're progressing. Like, the sky is the limit, and the score will indeed take care of itself. And Flores does deserve another head coaching gig, but it's more about opportunities, because he doesn't have to take a job just to take a job. I know that there's only 32 of these jobs, but he doesn't have to take one just to take one. So I don't see him, and what he's learned from the Dolphins, the Steelers, and now the Vikings, like, good situation is a good situation. So I don't see him just jumping at the chance to be the Bears coach or the Saints coach or the Cowboys coach when that opens up. No, like Flores, if and when he takes another job, which he deserves, like it's going to be the right situation. And I think that whatever team hires him is going to have a hell of a coach. He's going to be more than just the defensive coordinator with a challenge flag like maybe he was with the Dolphins, but he's going to he's learned from Tomlin and Kevin O'Connell, building relationships, having a better relationship with the quarterback, and just going from there, right? And so I love Brian Flores, and like I said, if he sticks around for the next couple of years, maybe the right job doesn't come open, and he molds this defense into the best in recent NFL history, we'll take that, man. And also, he's mentioned a lot how the great state of Minnesota has embraced him and his family, and they're comfortable here. So just stay. Unless you get the dream job, just stay. That's all, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. A great long-form piece about Brian Flores' redemption song from Jason Reed, ESPN. Let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You know what to do. Skol, production value.